Hi, I'm Mandy and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be cooking a Mark Hyman recipe, which is one that I love, and it's his raspberry Bliss bars. Now, I always do really easy, tasty, healthy food, unless I'm entertaining people, then I might get a little bit naughty. But this is a really fantastic sweet treat, so you can stick it in the freezer and just munch away at it when you get those little afternoon cravings for something sweet and tasty. I go to it a lot and it's great for taking on walks. So what we're going to need is 2 ripe bananas. Ripe banana myself, standing here talking to a camera, but anyway, but ripe bananas. I am a ripe banana. I'm mashing up 2 ripe bananas. So we're going to have 2 ripe bananas, and then what we're going to add to that is about 55 grams of nut milk, or a milk of your choice, just basically something wet. I'm using almond butter. Try to look for, when you're buying nut milks, try to look for, most of them unfortunately contain rapeseed oil. Rapeseed oil, for those of you that don't know, is quite inflammatory and it's just a cheap filler basically. So really try to sort of search out the nut milks that don't contain rapeseed oil, that just really are just water and said ingredient. So there's my mashed bananas, and to that I'm going to add my almond milk and give that a little bit of a stir, and then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract or vanilla paste. My hands are all like mushy. And so 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, vanilla paste, your choice. And I sometimes always go a bit over with that because I just love vanilla. It's like, you know, people ask you about vanilla ice cream and they just go, it's so boring. I'm just like, vanilla ice cream is not boring, I'm sorry. Or something's too vanilla. And just give that a little mix in. And then we are going to add to that almond butter. Use, if you've got peanut butter and your budget only goes to peanut butter, then go for it. But we're just going to put in 80 grams, about 3 generous tablespoons of almond butter, and add that to the bowl. And literally, we're just then going to add all of our wet ingredients, or all of our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients, and go in there. Well, I can lick that afterwards. Okay, I might lick it when you're still here with me. So mixing that in, and then quite literally I've got everything weighed out here. So 100 grams of shredded coconut, that's going to go in. And I've got, I think, 55 grams of pumpkin seeds. Now you can chop these up and make them a little bit smaller, but I just kind of think I just want to do everything easy, so just whacking them in. And 55 grams of sunflower seeds, and we're just going to bung that in as well. Then we want a pinch of salt. In we go, like that. Now, then I've got about 35 grams of ground flaxseed. Now, so you could use whole flaxseed because I've freshly ground mine in my Vitamix. But make sure that if you have got flaxseed and you are using ground flaxseed, keep it in the fridge because it does go rancid. And if you have got a Vitamix, it's really easy to just mix up and use it. It's so much better to have it fresh and use it fresh. But so, like I said, if you haven't got a Vitamix or something that's going to really grind up your flaxseed, I'll just whack it in whole. So you want 35 grams of ground flaxseed. That's going to go in. And then we've got some raspberries here. And we're just going to mix that all up together. I mean, it literally is this easy, and this is such a go-to recipe of mine, especially if you're going out for a walk. I'll take it out of the freezer frozen, take a couple of bars out frozen, and then by the time you're halfway on your walk, they're ready to eat. If you've got mates coming round for a cuppa, you can just, get out a little sweet treat. Now, for those of you that have got a bit of a sweet taste buds, I am included in that for some of you. You can add a little bit of honey, a bit of maple syrup, But, you know, at the end of the day, sugar is sugar, okay? And it is going to raise your blood sugar levels. But there's probably enough fat in this with the almond butter that it won't do too much damage. But hey ho, we've got to live, haven't we? So what I'm going to do with that is then just add either fresh or frozen raspberries. Again, you can use strawberries, you can use blueberries, whatever your taste buds are calling for. If you don't fancy them, leave them out. I mean, hey, chocolate buttons in there, but I didn't say that. So the recipe calls for about 50 grams of raspberries, fresh or frozen, but I'm always sort of overly generous with things. And when we're not, like, you know, baking cakes and stuff, I think you can just be a little bit more flamboyant with your ingredients, because I mean, this isn't going to rise anyway, do you know what I mean? So I'm just mixing the raspberries in there, mixing it all up to one big pasty mush. I've got my oven set at 175 Celsius. They'll be in the oven all day at 105. So 175 Celsius, that's 350 Fahrenheit. Have I got that the right way round? I think I have. But the notes for this will be in the info below. And then we're going to just put this into a little baking dish, an 8-inch by 8-inch, but I think this is 10 by 7. So whatever you've got, line it with some greaseproof paper. It just gets it out nice and neat. And I'm going to put this in to the baking dish like so. Luckily, I didn't lick that. So I'm going to put that in, clean the bowl out, like so, and just quite literally spread it all in, and then we're going to whack this in the oven for 40 to 50 minutes. Just make sure you get it all into the corners, just really squish it in there. Like I said, this hasn't got to look too pretty. We're not going to win any prizes for it, but it is so simple, and it just saves you reaching for the chocolate, for the processed snacks. And I've always got it in my freezer, and it's just, you know, just sometimes you just want a really sweet treat. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, like, what have I got? I could murder for something. And if I've got biscuits around the house, it's forget it. So this for me is a real sweet treat on the healthy side, game saver. So that's all, pack it right in. And like I say, we're not on MasterChef here. We're not going to get any markdowns for presentation. And we're going to just put that in the oven at 175 for 40 to 50 minutes. I'll see you back in a moment. Okay, so the raspberry bliss bars, they've been out of the oven about 10 minutes or so, so they're nice and, it's all nice and cool in there. And I'm just going to literally just lift it out of the baking dish. That's cool to the touch. It's slightly a little bit warm. Smells divine. And wait for it to cool before you cut this into pieces. If you try to cut it when it's still warm, it's just going to crumble all over the place. This is going to be famous last words now, because I'm going to cut this and it's all going to start to crumble, but we shall see. So I'm just going to just cut this into little pieces. There we go. A little bit crumbly, but I'm using a bread knife here. A little bit crumbly around the edge. But all I'm going to do now is two things. I'm going to A, eat some, and B, freeze some. So I literally cut it into lovely pieces, and this is just great. And you cut these all up and just put them into little freezer bags, and you've always got a little snack. And they also keep in an airtight container in your fridge, and if they last you a week, good luck, I'll be well impressed, but because they don't last that long with me. But yeah, this is just a really good sweet treat. You know, when you get to the middle of the afternoon and you're just thinking like, nom, 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 I just want something to eat. This is your go-to. So for more recipes like this, subscribe to me at Mandy's Kitchen, And I look forward to you to cooking along with me for some other healthy recipes. And I'll see you soon.